Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. So I've been challenged by my good friend Dan over at Movie Talk to some Q&A questions that he recently answered, and I've decided to take up the challenge. Here we go. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put the questions in the description of the video so you can answer them yourself, even comment on them. Get a discussion going. Let's see what you think of this. So I've gone through the questions, I've got them all here. Probably I've had a little bit too much time to think about it, but they're pretty good questions, so I wanted to make sure my answers were half decent. So here we go. Alright, so let's begin with favourite movie. Well, okay, so Star Wars is my favourite movie of all time. It's just the film that got me into movies in general and basically just developed my love for film from there, and it still is my favourite film to this day. I've got to mention a favourite scene. This was tough because really the whole movie is a favourite. There's just so much to enjoy in it, but I've got to go with the garbage compactor scene. That's probably my ultimate favourite scene in Star Wars. Okay, so next question. Favourite actors and actresses. This was so hard to put down to one particular actor or one particular actress, but so what I've done is I've got a couple here, but I've based it on their range and the fact that you know that going into whatever performance that they're going to give, you're really going to get something out of it. So my favourite actors would be Al Pacino. I'm going to give a mention to Hugh Jackman. I think Hugh Jackman's really got far more range than he's given credit for, and I think he's certainly deserving of this. And a special mention to Ryan Reynolds. I think he's really one of the most versatile actors around that hasn't been given full opportunity to really showcase his range. Favourite actresses. My favourite actress, without a doubt, is Cate Blanchett. I think she just makes anything into brilliance. Not only is she so beautiful, but you look at the work that she's done, anything from Elizabeth right up to most recently Thor Ragnarok. She just commands every scene she's in, and she's just brilliant in every performance without a doubt. So moving on to, who was your most annoying actors or actresses? This one wasn't very hard to answer. I really can't stand watching Jonah Hill. I think it's just, I find him so very annoying in almost everything he's in, with the exception of maybe Moneyball and Wolf of Wall Street. But yeah, I just find him really hard to engage with, and ultimately any movie that he's in, I do sort of tend to take a bit of a step back. Most annoying actress. Look, annoying is probably not the right word. I guess the word I would use to describe this actress would be unconvincing, and that would be Angelina Jolie. I don't really find her work that convincing. Okay, moving on to favourite directors. Oh God. To try and pin it down to one, it's so difficult because you take something from every director around, and you engage with them in different ways. But I've got to hand that crown to Sir Peter Jackson. He's basically been an inspiration to me over the years, and not because of the films he's made, because yes, while the Lord of the Rings trilogy was the pinnacle of his talent, his skills, and also the workshops over in New Zealand, you can do great films without having to go to America, to Hollywood. He made that vision possible for anyone who's not there, you know what I mean? And you can sort of get in and make your own guerrilla films, and they don't have to be overseas from Hollywood. They can still just be in your backyard and still be great quality. Alrighty, so we move on to my favourite guilty pleasures. And I say pleasures with a plural because there's never one movie, because everyone's mood changes and you need a different guilty pleasure for each mood. I'm going to give my guilty pleasure to The Frighteners. I really do enjoy watching that film. It's just a great film. I have very few issues with it. I never not enjoy it when I watch it, and it's always great fun. But I've got to give some honourable mentions too. The Mummy. I think that's a wonderfully reliable Saturday night pizza flick. It's great fun, and it's light, and sometimes you just need one of those movies. And I'll also give a mention to Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. I think that is one of the best guilty pleasures around. It's, again, it's never dull, it's never boring, it's just fun, and I thoroughly enjoy all of those. Moving on to my favourite tearjerker. This one was tough as well, because not only to admit that you cry in a movie, but also the fact that, to allow a film to wash over you so much that you're sort of afraid to go back to it, knowing you're going to get upset all over again. So I've got to give a favourite tearjerker to Inside Out. Anyone who's seen that film knows of a particular scene about 2/3 of the way through. I'm not going to spoil anything, but that just gets me in the feels every single time, and it's like, oh, Pixar, you jerks. I'm also going to give an honourable mention to Toy Story 3. That's one of the few films that I can only watch a handful of times, knowing that there are certain scenes in the movie that just turn me into a blubbering mess, and I just can't go near them. But the impact of the film wants me to watch it again, but I struggle. Also, Titanic from 1997. The film itself still has a lasting impact on me. It's just an emotional roller coaster of a movie that James Cameron just perfected. And yeah, I mean, it's been parodied to death ever since then, but it's just a wonderful film. And it just pulls at the heartstrings, and then you get angry because you realise there was room on that fucking door. So moving on to characters that scared you the most. This was tricky because I know in the back of my mind it's all just fake. There's not a lot of I can get over things pretty quick because I know it was just a movie. But if there's one character that did scare me more often than not, it was Michael Myers from Halloween. Basically on the premise that evil doesn't die and you just can't kill it. So the fact that he just keeps coming back, that freaks me out. So now we move on to movies you love that everybody hates. Oh, this one's controversial. This one really is controversial. And hate is such a strong word. But look, I'm going to give my award for movie that I love that everybody hates to Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. People fucking hate this film. I understand why. But when I went into seeing it, I knew I wasn't going to get Star Wars. I just knew that. This film was about setting things up, and it was about just putting the chess pieces in place that are going to be, changed and manipulated later on. I understood and accepted that. I mean, let's face it, if we didn't have Episode 1, we would not have Darth Maul, and we would not have Duel of the Fates. That awesome piece of score from John Williams. Now we move on to movies I hate that everyone loves, so to sort of get those two around. This one really wasn't that difficult. I cannot fucking stand the film Dallas Buyers Club. I think it is the most pretentious, overrated garbage I've ever seen in a long, long time. I know there was some controversy years ago that it was apparently the most downloaded film from the internet at one point, and I'm like, really? So moving on to favourite animated film. Gosh, there are so many, but I've got to give this one to The Incredibles. That's just a film that I can watch over and over and thoroughly enjoy it and just have a great time, especially the scene where Frozone can't find his suit and his wife won't help him. I think that I could just watch that scene over and over and just laugh so hard because it's such a great scene. Favourite actor or actress crush? Whew. Okay, so look, my favourite actor crush, it would have to be Hugh Jackman. The guy's just good looking, he can act, he's got skills, he's buff. I mean, when I'm his age, I hope to have a body like that. And look, my actress crush, it's Melissa McCarthy. And just because she's cute, I think she's just such a cute person. She could obviously just light up a room she walks into. I just would love a cuddle, and I don't know. She's my female crush. Favorite movie villain. This is a tie. The first is Darth Vader. Growing up with that villain as a child, he was the ultimate badass. There were no other villains like him. But many years later, that would be tied with Heath Ledger's Joker. That dude was freaky, and the fact that he was so unpredictable, you had no idea what he was going to do, and he was a step ahead of everybody else. It was just a wonderful performance, and without a doubt will stand the test of time for many years to come. We now move on to which movie surprised you the most. Okay, one that surprised me the most would have to be the very first Pitch Perfect. I went into this thinking it was going to be an absolute dud. I had no real intention to see it. It was basically a free ticket that got me into the cinema. And I thought, look, at worst, this movie sucks, it's free, I'll never watch it again. It was great to see a film like that just aim a little higher than what it could have been. It was aiming to everybody and was willing to take risks, and I really did appreciate that about the film. So now, if I could go back in time and marry an actress, now old, who would it be? I'd have to say Marilyn Monroe. Every picture she's in for her time, she's just gorgeous. And, you know, no harm with waking up next to that in the morning, that's for sure. Finally, we move on to the first movie you remember seeing in a cinema. Now, I was too young for Star Wars when it first came out, but one of the first films I remember was actually going to see Return of the Jedi. And there was I remember a huge hullabaloo that the cinema had made about it, because they had people dressed up as Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. They were, you know, having lightsaber duels in the aisles just as a pre-show, thinking that that's the last time we'll ever see a Star Wars film. And so they really made a big fuss about it. It was the last one, and it was great to see it on the big screen. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but that's really my first single memory of seeing my first film in a cinema. So look, there's my answers. I hope we know each other a little bit closer now, and I'm supposed to pass the mantle on to other people or other reviewers to answer these questions. So I don't know as many as other people do, so I'm going to put a call out to one Chris Stuckman. I'm a big fan of your channel. I love watching your reviews. We're often on the same page, and if we're not, that's just as good, because I love watching other people's opinions on things. So if this reaches you, say hi, and I would love to hear your answers to these questions. So guys, thank you once again for tuning in. I apologise that I haven't had as many videos as I would hope to this year. Basically, my production house has been very, very busy with putting a lot of short films and corporate pieces together. That's been taking up my focus, and unfortunately I haven't been to the movies of late, so there hasn't been much to review. That being said, I'm planning on going to not so much review films that are new. I want to go back to films that are just favourites for whatever reasons whatsoever. They don't have to be new films. So that's going to be a project I'll be working on soon. So once again guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you're all doing well. Remember to like and subscribe for more reviews and more videos. We'll see you at the movies. Hopefully.